Good morning, a warm welcome to you all. How to become the hairdresser you've always wanted to be. That's our subject today. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going over to the chat and just to see if you'd like to write to us and let us know where you're watching from. And also, if you could please let us know if you are a salon owner, a young stylist, seasoned stylist, a teacher. Good morning, truth, grace, and song. Lovely. Danielle, good morning. Good to have you here in the house. So I've got some special guests here today with me, and we're very excited to share some really important information to inspire you, to motivate you, to get you feeling really excited about our craft. I don't know about you, but there have been times in my career where I just couldn't wait to do hair. So excited, I saw something new. I remember standing by the side of giants throughout my early days and still to this day, and watching them create magic. And then thinking, oh gosh, I can't wait to do that hairstyle. And then there had been days where, oh my gosh, that client was so difficult. That situation was so challenging. I want to quit right now. How many of you can relate to that? So Teresa's here as well. She says she's well seasoned. Well seasoned's good. Margaret is here from Minnesota. Thank you so much for letting us know where you're watching. So let's get the conversation going. Any questions you have through this, please pop them into the chat, and let's dive into our subject matter. So the question is, when we're looking here at how to become the hairdresser you've always wanted to be. So when we look at this, right, how many of you relate to this? If you are managing, struggling with managing clients' unrealistic expectations, give me a yes in the chat. I'm not sure whether it's just the amount of content that's available now today through social media, where a client sees an image and just thinks, oh my gosh, yes. And they have no idea that it could have been filtered, edited. They have no idea how long that service actually took. So think, yes, you have the brush, or you have the comb, you have the magic wand, let's go for it. And managing those unrealistic expectations are really challenging. So Teresa and Margaret are saying yes, and so is Danielle. So it's managing those, isn't it, in a way that's dignified, respectful, and going to bring the client in versus pushing the client away. So I think we can all relate to that. The next thing is, if you're struggling with staying fresh with your hair cutting and finishing skills, today's focus is about hair cutting and finishing skills. Now, I grew up in a time where a long hairstyle would have been this. Everything was short above the ears. And the conversation was always like, we're going to be showing your ears. Really? Over the ears? Yeah, over the ears. I don't like my ears. You've got lovely ears. Short over the ears. I mean, I grew up through very short haircut fashion time in my career. And so I don't have a fear of cutting hair short. I also had a background in barbering. And if you have any fears of cutting hair short, one pro tip would be start doing men's hair. Men are so kind and so gracious and so forgiving when the hair goes too short, and often shorter is better for them. And so I think barbering as part of your training is always a marvelous thing to have. But going back to staying fresh with your hair cutting and finishing skills, it's very easy to do a new shape, but then go back and blow dry it the way we've always done. How many of you, when you have actually had your own haircut in a new style, you go back and you blow dry it the same way you've been doing for years? How many of you relate to that? Yes. And the reason that happens is it's a habit. We dive into that subconscious. And a little piece of trivia for you that's important: 95% of what we do every day is habitual. So therefore, it's not surprising that we slip back into a habit. Now, I understand the importance of a routine, but I also know a routine, if it's not kept fresh, can turn into a rut. And how many of you can relate to that? So we've got Veronica here from Canada. Great that you're in the house. Mary Ellen. And let's see, we've got some more lovely people showing up today. So thank you so much for being here. So let's look at the next thing that could be a challenge for you if you're struggling with having enough time. I'm going to give you some interesting statistics on detailing. Detailing has become very often, for some hairdressers, a second haircut. which is fine if you're charging for 2 haircuts. But when you're charging for 1 haircut and you end up doing 2, it's a problem. I always, from a young age, was not a confident person, and I'm certainly not a confident hairdresser. And I knew that if I had strong technique, I could lean into that technique, and that technique would help me through the thick and the thin. And I knew if I had strong technique, I would go from A to B to C with logic. I would have more time for creativity. I have a protocol which I'm going to share with you today that has de-stressed what I do, given me more clarity in what I do, higher performance, higher happiness all the way around. And I'm going to share you what it is, because it's taken years to figure it out, to be able to teach it. Some things, you know, you just do intuitively. You just see some brilliant hairdressers out there and intuitively they just do it. And you say, how did you come up with that idea? I don't know, I just did, right? Just got inspired. But how, right? And sometimes that's really hard to teach. So it's taken years to figure out what I have learned, what has come to me naturally, and to be able to teach it to help as many people as I possibly can. And my mission is to help as many people as I possibly can. And I get so excited about telling success stories of other stylists that I work with. I'm like this proud mother hen. So forgive me today if I get to brag about some of my fabulous people who I've helped, because it's just such a wonderful thing. If you're struggling with charging more for your services, and I know that this is a really tricky thing for all of us hairdressers, because it really taps into our worth. And I think we always have to focus on the value of what we do versus the dollar amount, the value, and always looking to increase that value. And I am going to show you today how people who've been working with me, stylists just like yourself, have been able to elevate their pricing with zero, and I'm talking zero resistance from their guests, and that we've got people that are increasing their tickets in quite an amazing way, to the point where our highest person has had a 40% increase in business within 1 year. Does that interest you? I think it probably does, right? And Danielle's saying, so hard because you don't want to lose the client. Absolutely. But when you have their best interests at heart, and you're giving more and they're getting more and they see that, that's the big wow factor. So again, it always comes back to us first, believing in ourselves and being able to give more. And I do respect everything you're saying, Danielle. If you're struggling with retention and more referrals, again, this is an area where we hear it 1,000 times, and it's always difficult for us hairdressers to actually get those clients, to ask a client to give us a referral. And yet it's such a simple thing to do, isn't it? And so I'm going to talk to you about that as well today. So thank you again for being with me. And our final thing we want to look at is, if you stay to the end, which I hope you will, I have some lovely gifts to give to you, and I will talk to you as to how you can access those lovely gifts. So why listen to me, right? Why listen to me? Well, I've been called the hairdresser's hairdresser, but my career has been quite interesting. It's been actually very, very interesting. Because I am the founder of HairDesigner TV. We now have over 2,000 videos and tutorials on my website. I am the former creative director for Vidal Sassoons and Trevor Sorbet in London. That's where I started my career many moons ago. I've won many awards, including 7 Nahas, which has been a lot of fun. International editorial stylist for print and for runway. And I have worked on international platforms with major manufacturers, Aveda, Matrix, Joico, Orbey, Goldwell, Trevor Sorbet, and Sassoons. So plenty of experience in teaching and educating hairdressers. I love being in a studio, shooting collections. It's always great to get a front cover of a magazine, even today. It's great to get awards. But what's more important is taking what you learn behind the scenes and bringing those tips and tricks to everyone and sharing those. On the stages that I've presented around the world, I've got to meet so many wonderful hairdressers. And one of the things I love to do today is teach you how to climb the ladder to success, because there's a strategy for climbing it and building confidence and building wealth as you go. And you know, it's really, really interesting, because this has never happened before in my career. I've always helped people become really skilled in their artistry, technically and creatively. But I've never been able to correlate. So if you do a more beautiful bob, how can you charge more for it? Or if you do a more beautiful up style, how can you charge more for it? And I figured out a formula, and I promise you, it's something I've struggled with for so many years. And it's actually taken 40 years to figure it out. And I now have proof of concept. And I'm going to share that with you today, because it's profound that when you do more beautiful work and you give an excellent service, that you should be charging more because you stand out from that crowd. And so that's really an important part of what I do. I'm not about just teaching you how to cut a straight line. There's plenty of people out there that can do that. I'm not about just teaching you how to backcomb. There's plenty of people that can do that. It's about teaching you how to have a great eye for design, how to sell through that idea to someone who values it, and how to build your brand, not only behind your chair, but also through social media. What is that voice that you have? And how do you attract the clients that you want to sit into your chair? And that's what I've figured out now. So I always say evidence is the biggest proof of anything. And now I have evidence, which I'm going to share with you today. So I'm really thrilled about that. So my website, I've created content in design, salon training programs, who is sitting in your chair. This is about consultation, one girl, 7 looks, color, editorial, hair cutting, my ponytail collection. Trust me, that was not an easy one to do. And I think the highlight of anyone who wants to give is looking at the results. And Ruth Roach and Stephen Moody, both extraordinary hairdressers. I worked with them in their youth, and it's just been amazing to see them progress to become 6-figure income hairdressers and award-winning stylists. So 2 great hairdressers to check out, and they are my sweethearts. I love them dearly. So Colette, she increased her sales by 40% by going through my training program. And all I was teaching her was how to be an extraordinary hairdresser, how to find her voice, how to actually message her voice out into the market. So you could say it's that lovely fusion of business and creativity where they actually sit together versus being oil and water. And I don't know about you, but in the past, it always felt like oil and water. And my method is definitely not that. So that's very, very exciting. So I just want to know, and I'm going to bring in the guest in a moment and get her opinion on it. How many of you relate to this, the imposter syndrome, where you show up for something and you just think, oh my gosh, my chair's empty today, I don't feel worthy. Or there's this invisible wall, this barrier between you and your client, and you don't know how to break through it. You feel a little bit trapped. Or that time when you feel like a puppet and the client's pulling your strings, you're not actually in your place of empowerment, they're pulling on you. How many of you can relate to that? Because actually it's a really big thing in our business, feeling like we're not worthy of what we do. You know, just on a side note, artificial intelligence is growing exponentially. A client now can put on through artificial intelligence, she can change her hair color, she can put on different hairstyles, she can do all of that. But I'm sorry, at the end of the day, when you sit in the chair with a fantastic hairdresser who's got a good eye for beauty and shape and balance and proportion, and they can say, well, that's a great picture, but your hair won't do that. Or that's a great picture, but your face shape is not that. Or that's a great picture, but, and there's always the but, isn't there? And artificial intelligence can't do that. We can. And while that may take over the world, we are the last one standing as a craft, as an art form that can select the ideal style to sit on that client from a personality standpoint, a lifestyle standpoint, age, etc., etc. And I'm going to prove it to you today. So how many of you do relate to that? Miss Kay is saying me, me, me. And Veronica's saying, do you love Mr. Moody? Yeah, he's amazing, amazing. So I'm going to now show you something really quite fun. I'm curious to know how many of you can relate to this. If this lady was sitting in your chair, how many of you think, oh my gosh, what the heck am I going to do? When you have long hair, you have so many choices, right? There's so many places you could go. I mean, it's gorgeous hair, but clearly it's pulling this lady's face down. So where do you begin? And how do you manage any nerves or any jitters as you're going through? Because guys, I did have some jitters. And okay, so confession. You ready? When I have a new client, I always have a little jitter, a little flutter, because I'm thinking, I hope I don't get it wrong. I hope I read her right. I hope I'm not going to put my favorite style on her. I hope I'm not going to do what's good for me versus what's good for her. I hope I'm not prejudiced in how I'm perceiving her or judgmental. All of those things, they go through like boom, 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 boom. They're emotions that I'm naming, but at the moment in time, it's just an emotion. And the emotion's not even real, right? Because at the end of it, when you get it right, you think, what was that emotion all about? That was really ridiculous, wasn't it? I got my knickers in such a twist. And she was a totally cool client, right? I'm going to show you what I did with this lady in a little moment. So how many of you would have a moment with that? And Studio Wish Salon are saying, agree, totally. A little voice still tries to get into your hands and into your head, I'm sure. Right, so now this lady, how many of you would be a little bit worried when she's sitting in your chair and she's saying, I want a total makeover? Well, it's very easy for the imposter syndrome to come back in, and we can have that fear of perfectionism. How many of you in the house suffer with perfectionism? Guilty, guilty. And perfect doesn't exist, right? So we're always setting ourselves up to be disappointed. So the question is, are we driven by disappointment? Is that what makes us better? That's not a really healthy way to live our life. Guilty. Or the fear of failure. Well, if I do this, what if I fail? If I do this, what if it puts me behind for the whole day? What if I do this and she doesn't like it? The fear of failure is real. But think about failure. Failure can be an amazing teacher, but failure is also saying it's going to not work because you don't fear good things happening, right? Think about that. The next thing is self-doubt. I'm doubting myself. Am I really good enough? I definitely have moments like that when I go into a photo studio. Starting this morning, I was a little nervous to present to you. I was hoping I was going to give my very best, like a little bit of self-doubt. I want to give my heart to you, so I hope I'm doing a good job. And anxiety. They all come together and they're not a healthy place to live. So how do you have a strategy to help you with this? Well, I've designed something that really keeps me in check and it does the work for me. I've automated it. And again, I'm going to share some of that with you today, which is super exciting. So what I do know is that many times we want to go there faster, only to find out that we went in the wrong direction. So what's really fascinating is that the average time spent on social media is 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day, that's really interesting, right? Now this is where it gets scary. That equals 30 days during the year. 30 days of your life on social media. Now, if you're getting results and you're getting the clients and you're getting ideas that you can absolutely use behind your chair, it's an investment of time. But if you scroll through and you just feel like, woo, you know, there are birds spinning around and in your head, to say, woo, what just happened? And you've seen so much, you've seen nothing. Then you've got to be able to say to yourself, right, I've got to edit this down so that it's quality time with a result. Because where else could I be investing 30 days? I always say Bali. Actually, right now I'm in Mexico, which is pretty cool. I have a swimming pool out there. I'm in this amazing villa. So I'm just parked here for a couple of weeks and just wanted to present to you from here. So anyway, 30 days. Does that amaze you? It amazed me. What I know is that if you want to not just become a better hair cutter or better finisher, but really more fashion and style and more, you know, more creative behind your chair or more confidence, you can't do it without a system. There has to be a system. And a lack of system means you're bouncing from like a ping pong ball all over the place. And great idea, bounce, great idea, bounce. How many of you can relate to that, that you do kind of bounce all over the place? You do? So, confession of a hairdresser. This is it, guys. Managing wishy-washy clients. So, how many of you have had that challenge? A lack of ability to sell an idea, product, and how to upsell a service. How many of you have had that experience? I'm going to right now bring in one of my guests, and I'm going to bring in beautiful Angel. And let's see what she has to add to this equation. I'm just going to bring Angel in. And we bring her in. There we go. Hi, Angel.
Hi.
Oh, where'd you go? Oops, I'm so sorry. I'm going to bring you back in again. Oh,
There
no,
we go.
no. Oh, let's just dance around the place. There you are. So let's first of all just talk about Angel. I met Angel when she's first of all, she's a salon owner. She's very talented, as you can see, a beautiful young lady, and she wanted to gift and take the gifts that she had and help cosmetology students when they go into a salon. She wanted to give them a postgraduate experience. So she came to me looking for, how do I educate people that are leaving cosmetology school, going into the salon, because so many salon owners are saying it's hard to get really qualified talent, and she wanted to bridge that gap and help them. So she came in on a journey with me, and she came into my training program, the designer program, and she's been going on this amazing journey. Meanwhile, guys, she's building a new salon, going through building permit nightmare, right? And she's still got that show face on, that performance, because here she is. So Angel, I know for you, you've been on an incredible journey with me. What would you say is different about where you are now to where you were before?
Oh my gosh, what's not different? I think would be the better question. No. So I think when I first started working with you, I think the number one proof of how you've really helped me in my career is behind the chair, from start to finish, with the consultation to the design aspect. Um, I've had an increase. I think that first year that I worked with you, I had a 20% increase from January 21 to January 22. Just those, not the whole year, just those 2 months. And then I compared this January to last January, and there was a 36% increase. So that's, I think, the biggest takeaway there. Secondly, you've helped me to be a really just a better educator, because not only am I able to teach the foundations, the foundation principles of cutting and styling, but I've also incorporated all of the things that you've taught me as far as design, and really looking at face shape and taking into consideration the individual style of the person in my chair.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have increased 38%. That's amazing. Congratulations. Woo, 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 woo. And I want to know, where before a wishy-washy client, we're talking about wishy-washy clients, the lack of ability to sell an idea, product, or upsell your services, where you were and where you are now, what would you say is that big difference?
I think my clients are more trusting, and they're more open to new ideas. Um, just from the experience of going through that consultation process, because I took your consultation process that you taught me and applied it to clients that I've had for years. And those clients that were always very resistant to new ideas and new things and new products are suddenly very open to new ideas and looks and products. So
That's amazing. I love that. So the next thing is lack of imagination, doing the same look on everybody. It's easy to get into the routine, which of course we all understand. But how has that been for you? Where would you say your creativity was? Like if you had a score of 1 to 10, 1 being 0 and 10 being off the charts in creativity, where were you and where are you now regarding your creativity?
I think where I was, honestly, was probably a 1. I had very little creativity behind the chair, because I was more focused on the technique. And now I'd say I'm increasing as time goes on. So maybe right now I'm at about an 8. Um,
Hey, That is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. We're going to come back to you again in a moment. So what is incredible about this is using your imagination and permission to do that. And when there is fear in blocking your creativity, it paralyzes it, it atrophies, and that's what's really dangerous. So for example, these are haircuts that I did. Now, what's interesting, technically, they are all the same haircut. They're all done with the razor, by the way, but each one of them has a different styling finish, right? Each of them is a different personality, a little bit of a rock and roll, a little bit of glam, a little bit of sensuality, a bit of cutesy, a little bit boho. So there's this diversity of styling and finishing, from the flat iron to curling, to dragging out the movement, to waxing the head, all of these different things. And sometimes it's a simple thing, like, guys, sometimes it's so simple, changing the parting. Sometimes a simple thing of maybe using a product you haven't used in a while and just thinking, let's go for it. But understanding that if she's bohemian, she kind of lives in that way, and it's getting into that. It's getting into the character of the person. It's getting into the status of where they are, so that you meet them in that place and you design from that perspective, versus going, ooh, she's a bit scruffy. She's a bit of a boho, isn't she? I don't know about that. She needs a bit polishing up. No, she's come to me. I'm going to sparkle her a bit and make everything nice and polished and shiny. And she can't wait to get out and start rubbing it and gritting it and making it look more real, right? Versus that organic look. And yeah, we're doing the natural look. It's all in, so cool, so cool. And she wants to be polished and buttoned up. And she's going, oh my gosh, there's something sticking out here. And there's something sticking out there. Oh, no, no, no. Right? No, no, no. It's meeting them where they live without judgment. Because today, everyone has a voice. Social media has given everybody a voice, and people are more aware of self today than ever before. And it's not like people are robots. People belong to tribes. And it's getting the sensibility of that, which then expands your creativity. So that's really, really huge. So when we're looking here at how to stay competitive in your marketplace, I'm going to bring in a lovely gentleman, and fingers crossed we can hear him, because he did have some technical issues, and it's the gorgeous Kevin Thurston. So let's just bring Kevin in, and let's see. Hi, Kevin. How are you? Can we hear you? Oh, I don't think we can. Can you just talk a little more? Let me see. Yeah, you're unmuted. No, we still can't hear you. Well, first of all, everybody, look at gorgeous Kevin. He's a feast for the eyes. And maybe in a moment he can come back and figure out what the gremlin is with his iPhone and it not letting us talk. But Kevin is a wonderful stylist in New York. He is extremely talented. He has worked with very high profile ladies and celebrities in his career. He's enjoyed being on photo studios, doing the magic there. When you sit in Kevin's chair, you feel beautiful, because he, with his charm, has a way of just making even me, an ugly old dog, howl. So he's really got some great things to share with us. So hopefully when we come back, Kevin may have been able to figure out how he can talk to us. Well, so we'll come back to you in a moment, but at least you gave us your gorgeous face. Okay, so there he goes. There's our gorgeous Kevin, and maybe he'll be back, right? So let's move on here. So what I wanted to share with you is some victories, because victories is what it's all about, isn't it? So this lovely lady here, Lindsay Sneed, she just won the award for best performance during our program. And one of her challenges was, she said, Viv, I can't loosen up my work. So this is one of her little hairstyles she created. And the whole thing was, Lindsay, you got to loosen up. You got to relax the hairstyle and make her less done. And Lindsay said to me something really interesting. She said, I thought that having everything perfect made it look expensive, and I want to charge more for my services. So I want everything polished and in place and precise. And I was like, loosen it up, loosen it up, loosen it up. And she felt so guilty to open up her work. But what I helped her with was understanding how the camera sees the shape. And this is just a mannequin head, for goodness sake. So just imagine when it's on a gorgeous client. So it's not just doing a hairstyle, it's understanding the message that this hairstyle gives and how do you create that expensive aspect in this wonderful way. So the real question is, at this point, you have two choices, right? So the first choice is you can go alone. You can watch this presentation today, and I hope you'll stay to the end. And then you can go off with the things I'm going to share with you and the gifts that I'm going to share with you, and you can start to put this into practice, which will be fantastic, right? But you're going to hit some roadblocks because you're not going to learn everything today. What I'm teaching takes time. Nothing really amazing happens like that, right? The great things in life aren't microwaved, they're marinated over a period of time, right? So you can go off by yourself and figure this out on your own. Or the other thing is we can work together. And I'm going to show you how we can work together, like I've worked with Kevin, like I've worked with Angel, and so many more amazing people. So we can work together. So I'm going to talk to you about that. So how big is your why? That's the thing. You've shown up today, and I'm thankful for you showing up. So your why is the thing that motivates you. I was a young stylist with bright orange hair, with freckles, looked like a nerd, and there I am in London at Vidal Sassoon's, and I look totally uncool. Ginger is not in fashion. Everyone's got black hair. Everyone's into gothic. I don't look good with black hair because I look like a witch. I tried it. I tried it for Halloween. It was really scary. So I never looked cool. I always looked like this country girl, or I should have been in some romantic movie or been in some film with King Henry VIII, you know, the long red hair type of thing. And so I thought, well, there's only one way to be cool. I've got to do cool because I'm not cool. I've got to do cool haircuts. I'm going to learn how to be such a good hair cutter. And I'm going to be such a master of my craft that the way that I look won't be a problem. Because I was very aware of being, as I say, a nerd. And so it was like my why was so big, and also failing was so horrible. You know, having a client be upset, being so scared behind my chair, worrying about different things, getting myself in a right old mess. It wasn't a fun way to live my life. And I kept saying to myself, and my mum said this, darling, when you're good, you'll have the confidence, but you need the knowledge. So just learn as much as you can. Always, always learn. Work with the best of the best of the best. Always be the smallest person in the room and be surrounded by giants. And that way you'll always grow. You know what? Mum was right. Thanks, Mum. So I'm not sure whether we can bring Kevin back, but we'll see if we can bring Kevin back in a moment. But let's actually have Angel come back. And let's just find out from her for a moment. Angel, I'm just curious to know, what for you were the biggest game changers in terms of going through the training with me? You already spoke about the consultation, but talk to me about how you map out a haircut and your speed. Are you detailing as much as you used to?
I'm not detailing as much as I used to. So that's definitely a time saver. Focusing more on the design aspect as I go through a haircut, as opposed to, you know, just banging out the technique and then going in and spending extra time detailing. That's made a huge difference. And I think that all comes down to the value, adding more value to the service, because it's more of a design service, customized specific to that person, as opposed to just doing a technical haircut that's trending on the same thing on everybody, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing. And what are the things that your clients have said in terms of noticing the difference in you and how you've grown? You must have got feedback from them.
Yes, I've had wonderful feedback as far as reviews go and referrals. I've had more referrals since working with you than I think I've ever had before. I, I don't know the exact number, but I do feel like I probably average at least one or two new guests a week, which is incredible. So the growth behind the chair, with referrals, and then retention. Retention was always something that I struggled with prior to working with you. Not just being confident that client is happy and they're going to come back, but being confident in pre-booking them when they're still there. The feedback is always, oh my gosh, I love this look. I've never had something, so personalized for me. And then, when you offer come back in X amount of weeks, they're on board, no question. It used to be, oh, maybe I'll just call you, or if I can book online, I'll just book online. And now it's a more confident, yes, I will come back in so many weeks.
That's wonderful. I'm going to ask you something. I hope you don't mind me asking. How would you rate your confidence as a person?
As a person, or as a hairstylist?
Hairstylist.
Now I feel like I'm on a scale of 1 to 10. Again, probably an 8.
And where were you?
Oh, 0.
You see, that blows me away. I mean, first of all, when you see Angel's work, she is beautiful, she is gracious, she is humble, she is charming, she is a delight. She's just got a soft goddess energy as far as I'm concerned. And I always felt she didn't see her greatness. Part of my job was to have her see her greatness. For me, I believe in her. I believe in her future. And what I've had to ask Angel to do is believe in what I see, not believe in what she sees, because there's so much magic there. And sometimes an angel can be doing all she's doing, but she's driving the car and she's got the handbrake on. She knows where she wants to go. She's got the vehicle. She's got her GPS set, and she's got the handbrake on. She's putting it in first gear. She's putting it in second, third, fourth, but she's still got the handbrake on. And now her handbrake is off. And now, as I watch her bloom, it's just extraordinary what she does. And her work has a very magic style to it. It's always feminine and pretty and gentle. And that is her brand. And that's what makes it very, very special. So I just want to congratulate you. And 38% increase in sales, that's very, very amazing. So well done to you. So there is the knowledge gap. There is a gap from where you are now to where you want to be. Today, I'm going to show you with my method how you can bridge that gap. How does that sound, my friends? Does that sound good? So do you relate to any of these pain points? Taking too long to get the results you want, whatever that may be. You want to increase your prices, but don't know how. Lacking some confidence to ask for what you need. Not having the rewards in the workplace that you rightly deserve. Not growing your business at the desired rate. You want to make more by working less. So how many of you relate to that? Just let me know in the chat, please. So when we're looking at this here and we're looking at where do we go, ask yourself if what you're doing today is going to get you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. And the other big thing that I know to be very, very true about this world is that time, it just slips through our fingers so quickly. Like a year just goes boom. The program that I offer, we go on this journey over a course of a year. And everyone says in the beginning, oh my gosh, a year? And I go, yeah. And everyone at the end says, oh my gosh, that was the fastest year of my life. It was the most fun. Can I do another year, right? But in the beginning, they're like stuck on this like, no. But when you're guided and mentored and you go on this journey that's proven, you love who you become. It impacts everything you do in your life because you show up with grace, you show up with gratitude, you show up like, wow, this is amazing. It's working, right? And it's so disappointing to go somewhere or copy. You see this great image, you go, oh yeah, right. You see it on Pinterest or whatever. You think, oh yeah, I'll do that. This is me, right? I'll do that. And I watch the 15-second video and watch it. It's like, oh, I wish I could stop it, but it won't stop. Then I try and create the look and it's like, nothing like it. Then I do it again. Now I start to get disappointed because it's like, it's nothing like this. And I think, damn, they edited out a lot. But there's some, and then I'm thinking, no, got to get through it. One time, 3 hours working with a 15-second video that I saw on Pinterest. I was trying to figure it out. In the end, I was like so determined. I got close. And in the end of it, I didn't even like the hairstyle anymore. It was like, I'm so done with this. But that's not a good learning experience. And instead of it pushing you forward, it actually does the reverse. You see, the secret to great learning is you watch, you do, and you get reviewed. You watch, you do, and you get a review. Because that feedback is very important for the next step. And that circle is so powerful. So hopefully you're finding this interesting. So what we have here is that when we're looking at our work, Angel, when you think about when we start our hairstyle, we put our tools down. We measure where things are going to live on the head. We look at shrinkage. We measure the face, and we look at voguing around the face and all this, that, and the other. It gets you excited about doing hair, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think that's part of it too. The excitement getting started with any service now is totally different. Where, before I would just kind of go in and start a haircut and only focus on the technical. And now mapping everything out as far as, picking out my focal points and the perimeter sectioning and determining where the layers are going to fall and all those details, planning ahead of time is fun.
Yes, absolutely. And my mantra is, let's get it right first time, because that's the world we live in, right? So my program is a virtual academy. And let me just share a little bit about that with you today. The program is really a blend of online and actually you showing up for live events, which are all virtual. So we watch the video first of all. And then after we've watched the video, which you do in your own time during the week, you then show up for the class. And in class, I can watch you moving. I can scan around and give you comments like raise your elbow, drop your elbow, stand there, blah, blah, blah. We then photograph our work. And then when we photographed our work, we then post it in the forum so that I can look at your work and I can give you a review. I give video reviews, I give text reviews, I give you a review. And so then when I see you in class the next week, I can then give you additional comments, and I then know how to coach you even better the next week based on what I just saw. So it is a really dynamic process that we go through. And it is watch the videos, recreate in class, and then post your work in the forum for feedback. And that is the magic. And confidence is, remember, success. So Angel, when you think about the reviews that I've been able to give to you, I've given you video reviews, how powerful were they for you?
Extremely. Your reviews, not that I ever show you anything and think, oh, this is perfect, it's not going to need any tweaking. But the way that you do it, as far as pointing out just subtle little changes to make to really enhance the style or the cut, extremely helpful. And I love the one style I did, you actually added a diagram over top of the image.
Yes.
And that just like blew my mind.
Yeah. And you know what I said to Angel? She's got the skill in her hands. Do you know what the biggest problem was? How she was looking at the shape. She was a bird flying above. She was in a situation where she wasn't in her studio. She was doing this hairstyle on location and nothing was set there in the perfect space for her. So she was compromising, having to struggle because, right, that was what showed up that day. She still showed up and did the best she could, but the subtleties that were missed were just simply of how she was looking at her shape. And when I gave her that coaching, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, everything changes, and that becomes very, very, very powerful. So that's really, really amazing. So I have a program which is divided into 5 terms. Term 1 is how to get fully booked. And in here, we look at the 3 ways to make more money, which are more clients, clearly. We've got to get more clients, more services in the salon and out on location, and then increase our prices. So with these three principles, more clients, more services, increase your prices, it's very, very easy to see why so many of our stylists in the program have increased their revenue up to 40%. That's the top one so far within 1 year. So pleasing the client, how do you tell a client, how do you tell a hair client that a design they have in mind won't work for them? So many times we're just trying to please them, become the puppet, and we're not honoring what's best. How do I tell a client that our idea will not work without making her feel bad or wrong? Pleasing the client again. As a hairdresser, you've likely faced those questions more than once. It's probably cost you a client by now, right? The danger of compromise. So let's look at that. 97% of stylists say they offer a consultation to their clients. 7% of clients say they are given a consultation, which is really extraordinary, extraordinary. So many times there are 4 emotional drivers that kind of guide us through our day. We can meet a client and feel intimidated. How many times, Angel, have you been in a place where, oh my gosh, this client's intimidating?
Many.
Yes. Yes. How many guys can you say that? Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we're getting some yeses in the chat. Intimidating hair, intimidating personality, intimidating because what they're asking for is just not realistic. Frustrated. How many of us have had frustrating moments? We meet someone, we're just frustrated. They've shown up late again. They have hair that's very difficult to work with. Their expectations are challenging. How many of us, when we have those feelings, feel uninspired? Really? I can't wait for the day to end. Have you felt that, Angel?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. And then would it be so surprising, hello, that we'd be unmotivated? Of course we'd be unmotivated. We want to take the day off, right? Oh, I've got a headache. I must go and lay down. Yes, because intimidation, frustration will lead to uninspired and unmotivated. But how do we flip that baby around so that we can have some excitement in our life? So I said to you that this lady here was intimidating, not because she was a nasty person, just because so much hair and it's challenging. When life doesn't allow you to change anything else, get a new hairstyle, right? And I think that that is really pretty cool. So here what we have is, let's see who can play this. We have our transformation that's taking place. So let's see if we're, here we go. It's a little slow. So this lovely lady didn't know how the wave pattern was going to play out. I stayed respectful of where she lives. You know, she's a mature lady. She's very natural. She's very organic. She wanted something simple. She still wanted some length in her hair. And clearly, you know, I gave her something that would be manageable. She can wash and wear this. She can style it many different ways. And that smile was worth its weight in gold. My next lady that came in gave me these photographs as a reference. So this particular lady is this lady. And when she came in, she said, well, I like these 2 hairstyles. And I'm looking, the volume is all around the perimeter. So how many of you would go, oh my gosh, what do I do? Because obviously her volume in her face is around the jawline. So would you play it safe and do a shoulder length hairstyle? Could maybe put in 2 rows of hair extensions, could maybe give her just kissing the shoulders, some shaping around the face, maybe give her some more lightness around the face and open her a little bit more, maybe shadow the underneath of the hairstyle to slim down the neckline. It could certainly work, couldn't it? But it would be a high maintenance hairstyle. We could go to collar length, but collar length and hide the volume of the jawline. So bring the hair just below the jaw, hide the jawline, side parting, and close down the face. That is a strategy. We could do something around the cheekbone, and we could try and lift the jawline and try and create more texture and more volume in the top and shift the balance. But we could also go to the top of the ear. Now, going to the top of the ear means cutting off at least 12 inches of hair. Could be a little intimidating, especially as she wants this particular hairstyle. So when you look at that, you go, oh my gosh, that this could be quite intimidating, right? What are we going to do here? Well, I think what we should do is listen to what Patricia actually had to say to us. So let me just go there and let's listen to Patricia. I've just had the honor of cutting Patricia's hair from long to short. Patricia, how do you feel about your new hairstyle?
I love it. I absolutely love it. It is not what I thought I would end up with. It's not what I envisioned me getting, but it is exactly what I want. So it became a surprise that is exactly what I want.
That's so wonderful. And how was the consultation for you?
The consultation went very well because it was open. It wasn't closed. I didn't have to say what I wanted. You showed me different ways my hair could look by moving it around, by pulling it up, by pulling it back, so I could begin to picture something other than saying to you, all right, I want my hair shoulder length, or I want my hair this way or that, because I didn't know what that would be. It wasn't until you started moving my hair around that I could picture what my hair could look like. And that's how we kind of did it together, and came up with an answer.
Well, I think you look stunning, and thank you for the honor of doing your hair.
Oh, thank you. It's just been so much fun, and I love it.
So this particular lady, quite challenging, an alpha female, a strong dynamic woman, and from where she was to where I took her, I vogued around her face. The consultation was I leaned in to the consultation. The consultation was my map. It was my GPS. It clarified what was going to work and what wasn't going to work, her lifestyle, etc., age, and it's tricky. One of the things she said to me, she said, well, if I go short, won't that make me look older? And I think that you have to be very careful on a mature lady that when you go short, you still keep it fresh and young, and you do something in there, like I did the little asymmetric sweep, just to keep it sort of fresh. Otherwise, it can look dated, and that's the key. Short hair isn't aging. In fact, short hair can be very lifting because it lifts everything up. So it's how you style it, where you leave that softness. And so those are the important things. Again, leaning into the consultation, which is really huge. So here, this is another example of a makeover. So here we have making over, but adding hair, the hair extensions. Here we have the hair extensions that have now gone into styling her hair, because you could not do this hairstyle if you didn't put hair extensions into there. You need the length and you need the volume. Many times a client will look at an up style and not realize that there's a lot of hair in there that's not the client's own hair. So how do you do that? I used my razor to do ghost layers. I did hair extensions. When it came to styling the hair, I used a push-pull technique, and we have a complete makeover. So makeovers can be just simple styling makeovers. Instead of just doing always the same blow dry, you can see on the left here, I just did a sewing technique, or taking elastic and tying the hair up in a very relaxed way. The chignon is all hair sewing. So again, it's just thinking bigger and thinking about how can you kind of take your work to the next level. My job is to help you build your brand. My job is to have you stand out from the crowd. So unfortunately, I'm not sure whether Kevin can come back in or not, but we're going to try in a moment. But this is Kevin's before shot, a gorgeous hairstyle. So it's not enough to help Kevin build his brand behind his chair. It's also about how he posts his work behind the chair. Because when we look at the first shot, we can see that there's the noise of the salon space. Kevin's busy. He took a great photograph, go, 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 go. I get it. But we want to make Kevin's work memorable. So I showed during the training, let's now make our images as expensive as possible so that when you post it, you get rid of the noise, the distraction, and you make your work look more amazing. I'm going to try and bring Kevin in one more time and see whether we have a voice.
Hello.
Ah!
Yeah, it was the iPhone. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Angel.
Hi. I'm getting a little bit of an echo.
Okay.
I'm not sure why, but let's try.
Okay.
So, Kevin, what has been your biggest transformation in working with me?
I divide my entire career into before Vivian and after Vivian. So my biggest transformation is I was full of the first 7 years of my career. I was really full of false confidence. I had a lot of confidence, and it was completely, I had to look in the mirror after I met you and just say, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to people. And then 10 years ago we met, and it became, through the years of working with you and taking class after class and assisting you, and now I'm in the designer program, but just countless classes with you have been so amazing. My biggest change is that my confidence is backed up by technical, it's becoming technical greatness, and I'm always learning from you. And anything that walks into the door, anything really, I can do, and I can do it with confidence, and none of it's false. So that's my biggest. Yeah.
And tell me about your consultation.
My consultation, since I started with you 10 years ago, it's unlike, and I've really worked in top salons. I've always been very lucky to work in the top salons in Manhattan. But still, I will say that not one person I've worked with, not even one, beside me or in the salon they don't do a consultation like I do. So you'll see anything from, and I mean in amazing salons, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? And I kind of am like, what? And then you'll see a slight consultation at the chair. Mine, I gain my clients' trust, and I gain new clients constantly, because my consultation is take the cape off, stand up. I even have them walk towards me sometimes, and they're okay with it because it's something they've never experienced. I talk about their face shape. I had a woman about 2 weeks ago, I haven't shared with you yet, but she said, I love you because you have such a point of view. She was brand new to me, and she's, just exciting and excited. And my consultation is top notch, and I teach it to my students now because I'm one of 2 directors of education for our salons. So I really teach as much as I can your consultation and what you've taught me, and they're enrolled in your designer program with me. So it's kind of awesome.
Wonderful. Well, we'll come back to you in a moment, Kevin. Thank you so much. So let's move on now so I can actually help you guys with some really great things. So in our term 1, we learn how to put the right hairstyle with the right face shape, how to manage, how to make your clients look more youthful, design with intention, increase retention, increase referrals, the art of blow drying and styling, photo journaling. We photograph everything we do. And then the end product of this is being creative is your pathway to developing your brand. So when we look at what we do in our classes, we go everything from a classic wave through to classic sleek blow drying and how to create polished effects. We go through how to undo a hairstyle and make it have texture, how to elevate the roots and how to do something fun like that, how to create texture and movement within the hair to create relaxation. We even work on the subtleties. And when we work on that, we try and we go over, okay, so get rid of that over-rounded style, unless it's a fashion statement that you're trying to make on someone young and edgy, because what I teach is depth. You've got to understand depth. And for example, the side here where the clip is, you can see there's the elevation of the depth. It's tight at the face, there's volume at the ear. On the other side is just one big old round bubble. And that width is not flattering to the face shape. And if you want to modernize your hairstyles, try and avoid your over rounding of a hairstyle. So when we look here at how we photograph, you can see it's snug at the face. There is the volume at the ear. So I'm always about tiny around the face and put the volume at the ear so that I can work with the cheekbone and the jawline, and how to take a great photograph. So clearly, when you look at this evolution of big blob, with the front shot to how we finish up, that's part of my training, how to create beautiful, beautiful shapes. And again, this is showing you a poor blow dry versus a good blow dry. How to undo a hairstyle so it has lovely movement and relaxation. This is my students' work, how to create great texture These are all the things that are very important. So let's come back to Kevin, and I get a few more insights from Kevin on styling. So Kevin, when you look at the styling that you've been doing, tell us what you've learned from a styling perspective and how that's actually helped you.
From a styling perspective, I think my biggest challenge has been to pull apart my work and to not be polished with a look. Because ladies, my ladies at least, and even in fashion that I see, they don't want to be polished anymore. They may want their ends finished now, no beach waves, but they still want an undone look. So that's been my biggest learn, is to pull my work apart. I step back from my work. I use the mirror. I'm able to tweak the look where the face looks amazing. I mean, nobody wants to see hair coming at you. They want to see the woman. They want to see their face, their neck, then the hair. That's my belief and what my ladies want. Nobody wants a hair story in real life. They want a woman. So I'm able to pull all that together and really, really, really show who they are by little tweaks in the style. And it's been amazing. Yeah.
So when we look here at our look here, let's just go here. They know their faces better than you. Selfies. Women who take selfies understand, may not know their face shape, but they understand the angles of their face. They understand the hairstyles that work for them and the hairstyles that do not. When I ask many hairdressers, they get paralyzed around face shape. So this is what I noticed. So many hairstylists say they have a hard time reading face shape and find it challenging to educate their clients into a new style. My method removes the guesswork. Follow my method and you will have lasting success. So this is Sarah. She was in our program 7 weeks into the training. I'm loving this program. I'm using the 3 wheels of fashion consultation on most of my clients now. It's very enlightening. My clients love the extra attention and the intentional conversation on how to enhance their face shape. I'm having more fun behind my chair now than ever before. I've increased my prices and my clients leave with a bigger smile and a little bit more of a bounce in their step. So this is one of the things that we do. You can see here that we've got 4 different hairstyles. In actual fact, it was one blow dry styled with different partings. And the exercise we did in class was to look at what happens when we put the parting number 1 with a little tiny bit of elevation at the front. Number 2, a curtain fringe closed down around the face. And you can see there's a lot more volume in the cheeks in number 2 versus number 1. Number 3, take all of the hair off of the face. As Kevin said, show the woman, right? And you can see there that you can see more of the face shape. And then number 4, the blend of all, a little elevation at the parting, the curtain fringe sweeping across. And when you compare 4 to 2, 2, the face is fuller and pulled down. 4, the face looks more balanced and proportion. So this is just one thing we do in our training, which teaches balance and proportion. The other thing too, we measure the face. This is the golden rule that we apply. And this is the law of thirds, where we measure to get the ideal proportion. And here we have a student that's sharing their story. I can't tell you how much this amazing program is. Never in my career have I heard of any hairdresser speak of the golden ratio. It is the mathematical explanation of aesthetics. Excuse me, the art of science or the science of art. After 15 years of hairdressing, just watching the first few videos of the program, everything just clicks. And I can feel I can thrive and be the best version of myself as a hairdresser. So the 5-star consultation, it begins here, the 3 wheels of fashion. And these 3 wheels have been huge, huge game changers. Personality, lifestyle, sensuality of a woman. Kevin, what has this mean to you when we look at the 3 wheels of fashion? Oh, let's just unmute you.
All set. Can you hear me? Okay. So these are everything to me. And I started these way back when we met, and these have become such a part of my everyday consultation with a woman that I really do it almost intuitively now. I'm able to nail where they live, where they can go, where they want to go, where they'll be uncomfortable, where they'll be comfortable, and meet them exactly where they live. And also give them a couple of options that may not be too far out of the box for them, but I'm able to give them options which are comfortable for them and that they'll wear. You could put an edgy hairstyle, on anyone, but if she's not edgy, she's going to feel uncomfortable. So I like to give someone a little edge. I like to give someone a little opportunity, a little choice to be within a couple of those pieces of the wheels of fashion, and then meet them where they need to be and where they live.
So this is very profound. I used to look at the hair. What are we doing today? Think about what's trending. Think about how I must be cool. Think about how I've got to follow what everybody else is doing. And I'm thinking about every other hairdresser, what they're doing versus who's sitting in my chair. I would not be thinking about, or very often be thinking about the technique. Now what I do, technique is the last thing I think of. I go through my 3 wheels of fashion. I decide from the inside of the head to the outside of the head. Then I go to face shape. Then I go to technique. In doing that, everything changed, totally changed. And that is where the money piece is. So for example, when we look at our lovely little lady here, number 1, her face is closed down. Number 2, we've got glam and we've got retro. Number 3, we've just got quiet, just sort of sensual glam. And then number 4, we've got a little bit of an opening and the curtain fringe. We've given some length to the face and we have the hair draped around. So we could look at these from a point of view of fashion. We can look at these through the eyes of femininity. And we can look at these through the eyes of how quiet or loud it is. Every client's going to have a bias. She may be more concerned about how feminine she is than how much hair is being cut off. She may be more concerned about how fashionable it is versus how feminine she's going to look. So you have to meet the client where she lives. But now let's look at these same hairstyles through the eyes of face shape. Number 4, we can see that it is a long face, and therefore closing the face down and giving volume to the long face is a good strategy. A pair where the volume is in the jawline in number 3, any volume on the top of the head or a symmetry is going to be the friend. A round, a side parting, an asymmetric line, elongation is going to work. The heart or the upside down triangle, you've got the volume at the top of the head and a very pointy jawline. So you build out the lower part. This is all a strategy. So what we do in term 1, we work on your brand. We work on what your messaging is on social media. We work on all of your styling, all of your finishing skills. Is editorial. Haven't even picked up our scissors yet. We are playing with shapes. We're building you up and we're building that conversation so that if you make a mistake in the consultation, styling is a shampoo away from change. Now we get serious. We take all of that knowledge, all of that way of seeing and thinking and believing. We've shifted the mindset. We're now ready to start now getting dangerous with our tools. And now we get into the cutting of the hair. And this is when things start to move pretty quickly. So yes, the importance of the face shape is going to play on throughout the entire program. When we now go into the next part of the program, it's the fundamentals and the 3 ways to cut hair. 1 haircut on 1 client, no more fiddling and no more fussing. How much time are you wasting? We spoke about this earlier. If you detail for 5 minutes per haircut, 8 haircuts a day equals 40 minutes. 52 weeks is 26 work days. What could you do with that extra time? I say take a large holiday. But anyway, what are you going to do? 26 work days of extra detailing time that you don't need to do, a loss of income as well, because if you're charging, we'll just take a lower average of $75 for a haircut, you've just lost $13,650, and that should be in your pocket, right? And saving time. So detailing is a great thing, but not when it becomes a second haircut. How do you overcome the fear of cutting hair? So my program will take a novice and go through my system, as well as senior stylists. We map out everything that we do. We understand the architecture of the design. We don't just pick up our tools and start cutting and doing what we have done. It's not a robotic approach at all. We work with razors, we work with scissors, we work with our thinning scissors, and we work understanding our why, and that's very important. The styling is always very personalized, it's not cookie cutter, and that is the game changer. And when you understand the fundamentals, that's when the light bulb moment happens. We understand where to stand. Where do you stand to graduate the hair? Because many people come to the table with habits that don't serve them anymore. So the cost to unlearn and then relearn is so costly. So that's what you want to be very, very, very mindful of. So when we're looking at the Hair Designer Program, we guide you every step of the way. In term 3, we go over our bobs. So we've done our fundamentals, we've done our editorial styling, we've nailed the consultation, we're building our brand. And so now when we start playing with our bobs, which we all know are quite challenging, as we're going through our bobs, we're working on the precision of what we do. And this is so critical. So as we're doing this and we're looking at the angles and the balance and the proportion, all of these are critical to understanding where does the hair live in space? Where does the hair live when it's collapsed? Where do you stand? Do you favor one side over the other? How do you check? And therefore, as we go through this whole process, our bob series goes over 7 bobs. And by the time you're done with these bobs, oh my goodness, you are really good to go. So you should be able to do a bob where you're working with your scissors and you're doing ghost layers and you're beveling your shape. And this particular hairstyle has ghost layers all the way through it. So you can create some lovely, lovely movement. So that becomes very important. So from our bobs, we go into our graduation. And when we're graduating the hair, we discover that 75% of young stylists say they are scared to cut hair short. And while I love long hair, graduation is an amazing thing to dive into. So I want you to be able to do everything. I'm greedy. I want you to have skill in so many different areas. So you're not a one-trick pony. So here we go over the dimension of the graduation. We go over the process of the building of the weight. And we look at all of these very, very important things. Where does the hair live in space? What happens when the hair collapses? All of these are very important things. So as we're working on our hairstyles, when you've watched the video, now you've shown up for the live class with me, you are following along with me. So I cut a little, you cut a little. I watch what you're doing, you watch me, I watch you. It's really an amazing dance of togetherness as we go through the event, which is really extraordinary. And so what's really amazing is that when you do this, your life does start to change. And I'm going to bring the guys back in a second just to find out what they think about the actual live event, because they're part of it. So I wanted to let you know that we have an ebook, and you will be able to, at the end of this, download the ebook, and it covers what I've been talking about today. So it's a wonderful reference for you to go through the system, and I hope that it really, really helps you. So that is the ebook. The next thing we have, of course, are our layers. And in our layering, what we have, of course, are every type of layer you can possibly imagine. We start on longer layers and we end up with our shortest layers, which, of course, would be our pixie haircut. And as we're going through our layers, again, we want to understand how we're mapping the hairstyle. Where does it live when we cut? Where does it live when it falls and collapses? Where does it live when it shrinks? How is that going to sit? Where are those layers going to be to balance with the cheekbone or the jawline? How are they going to open the face or close the face? What is the strategy there? So our layering is really a whole lot of fun as we go through, as I mentioned, from the longest hairstyle to the shortest hairstyle. And I'm just going to bring in both of our guests for a moment and just get the feedback from them as to Kevin. Talk to me about the live.
The live's been really great. Once you commit it and commit to it, you block your time. Can you hear me? Everything's clear? Okay. You block your time, you know you're committed. It's every Tuesday morning for us, and it's been really easy. You photograph your work, you post it right after you do the class, and you get I will say for the first week, 2 weeks, you're getting into the groove of it. You're learning what works, what doesn't, your timing, but it's amazing, and it's amazing to have my students going through it with me. They're just starting. So for them to commit to the same program that me, who's been doing this for 17 years, is doing, and us both getting such great things out of it, that says it all to me. That everybody can join it. And I wanted to say one more thing, and I hope this comes across right. So for me, of course, I try to teach the ways I've learned from you, but in my head, and my responsibility to my students is to make them great. And I know the right path, and that's through your training. I know it because I've failed, and I've not failed, and now I'm in a really great place. Why mess with the right path? Really, yes, I'm going to try to teach it, but I want them to learn it from you. I'm not going to do the same job as you do. I'm not you. But so I wanted to say, if you're thinking of sort of learning it and teaching it, why mess with the formula that works? Have them sign up themselves for it. And that's a big thing that I've gone through and learned, and watching them learn from you is awesome, because what they're doing is avoiding all the pitfalls that I did before I started with you. And that's my responsibility, is to get them great, and to get them great as fast as they can get there. There you go. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Angel, when you are part of the live class, the experience of following along and me teaching you and so on, how does that feel? And compare that to a live class where you have someone show you something, and then an hour later they come back and they show you something else, and then an hour later they come back. It's a very different experience of being all on screen and me watching you. I feel like the conductor, like, oh, do this, do this.
Honestly, sometimes it feels like you're standing right here with me, because you can see and you're giving me the feedback. And I just to kind of piggyback off of what Kevin was saying as far as teaching his students, I kind of feel the same way. Like you've made me a better educator, not just better behind the chair, but a better educator. And in the live classes, I'm not only learning from you the techniques and the design process, but I'm also learning just subtly how to be a better educator.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you both very, very much. So let's just go back over to our screen for a moment as we're coming to these important points. What is the one thing you're committed to learn over this next year? I would love to know. Please write down in the chat, what are you committed to? If you had the training and coaching, could you achieve your goal? Which would be quicker with outstanding results, figuring it out by yourself or following a proven system? Which would be working better for you? We've got another student here. I'm always refreshed by what I learn. It's perfect training for new staff and get senior stylists out of a rut, strengthen your consultation, and so much more. I love the 24/7 access during my downtime. I empower myself with new knowledge, and that's from Tess. So there's some bonuses today. We have access to this program, so you'll be able to watch this again and go over some important things. And for the first 3 people who join us today, you will be a guest at my next virtual workshop, which is pretty exciting, right? And I mentioned the ebook. This ebook, please, I want you to all download this ebook because it's there for you. It's a beautiful ebook which will go over my philosophy, and it's the philosophy that's really been transformative. Now, the first 10 people who book an appointment today, and I'm going to tell you how to do this. You can book an appointment. It's a coaching call, and the first 10 people get me. And it's really fun. So the most important thing is that you show up, right? One time, someone booked an appointment with me, and they didn't show up. I thought, well, where are they? Hello? So I called them, and this lady said, who are you? And I said, it's Vivian. She said, well, who are you? I went, well, I'm a hairdresser. She said, I go a hairdresser. I went, Oh, yeah, you're that hairdresser. I went, yeah. I said, you made an appointment with me and you didn't show up, right? Oh. She said, oh, I'm grocery shopping. I can't talk to you right now. Oh, you're grocery shopping. Okay, all right. Clearly not my client, right? It was funny, grocery shopping. Anyway, if you book a call, the first 10 people get me. So you better show up. Otherwise, I will call you and I'll be like, come on, let's get with it. So who wants my help? Just let me know in the chat who wants my help. So the way that we do this is the designer program is an incredible program. It runs for a year. And it is very gently paced. We take our holidays. We have 6 weeks holidays, but what you can do is you can book a call to find out more about it. We have different levels of participation so that we have different price points that work within your budget. And it's just a wonderful way for you and I to work together. So by booking a call, you'll get more information about the program. You've already seen today the victories that the hairdressers who've worked with me have had. And as I mentioned before, this is not just about you learning how to cut a better bob or you learning how to do a different iron technique. It's so much beyond there. When you're looking at your brand and you're saying, Viv, I want to reinvent myself. I want my brand to be whatever that is, whether it be more relaxed, more bohemian, more glamorous, whatever. I want to raise my prices. I want to have more fun. I want to have more creativity. Whatever those things are, this program will take you there. You will come out a very confident, skilled hair cutter. You won't be a fashion victim. Will you be able to interpret fashion? Absolutely. Will you be able to look at a photograph, reverse engineer, and know how that was done? Absolutely. Will you have the narrative to know how to talk to a client who's stuck and you need to move her through? And you heard today, these beautiful stylists not only have increased their value behind their chair, they've increased their confidence and their skill and their joy. So that's really, really huge. So what you'll do is you'll go to the website, Vivian McKinder, and you will be able to book a call there. And there is a little application form. We want to make sure you're the right person for this program. So we don't accept everybody, because there's no point in you coming into a program where I can't help you if you can't show up. Are you an action taker? I love working with action takers. Are you passionate about learning? Are you excited about where your career could go? Do you feel you've been limited by whatever's happened in your past? If you don't want your past to be your future, today is the day that you have to take action. You have to say, I'm doing it. I'm jumping, right? Nothing's going to stop me. But if you look at your past and you say, I love my past and I want more of my past in my future, then bravo, well done, well done. I salute you. You're obviously doing something really brilliant. But if you feel, I don't want my past to be my future. I want my future to be bigger, better. I want to work less. I want to make more money. I want to be more creative. I want more respect from my clients. I want more creativity. I want to have more fun, right? I came into this industry to be creative, not to be a machine on assembly line, right? If that is you, I can absolutely help you because I've helped so many other people. So I just want to say thank you to everybody today for being here and showing up. I really appreciate it. And I just want to go back to our lovely guests and bring them back in. Let me just do that 1 second. Where are you, my lovely friends? There you are. I'm just going to unmute. And I'm getting feedback from Kevin. So I'm just going to mute you, and then I'm going to unmute myself so that I can talk to Kevin because I'm getting feedback. Okay, so I'm just going to have Angel just give a word of advice to our audience, please.
Oh, a word of advice. Take advantage of the opportunity to have an incredible mentor like Vivian. I think through my career, I've been very lucky to have a number of mentors, but there was a very long period of time where I was just kind of going through things without guidance, without help, without really knowing what I was doing. So definitely, I would say take advantage of the opportunity for sure.
Thank you so much. And Angel, thank you for all you have given to us today. And I salute you and I wish you great success with the opening of your new salon. And yeah, and I just hope it happens as efficiently as possible. I'm going to block my microphone so that Kevin can speak. Kevin, what advice would you give to everybody?
Can you hear me? Okay. So I would give you advice. I would say be really honest. And that what I mean by that is look in the mirror, be honest about what you know, be really honest about what you don't know, and that you're not good at. You know, check yourself. See, am I just going through the industry, sort of floating, being okay at things, delivering sometimes, over promising, under delivering? If that's you, and that was me a long time ago, and take advantage of the opportunity here. Learn, if you don't know who Vivian McKinder is and what she's done, clearly you know who she is, you're here. But look at the things she's done. Look at who you have an opportunity to learn from. You know, and take advantage of it. And then the only other thing I would say is spread that kind of love. Like, spread it to your students, spread it to your teammates, spread it in your new salon. I mean, you know that already. But spread it around and teach it, because through teaching all the things you learn here, you become such an amazing, confident stylist. And that's what your clients need. And be a lifelong learner. And that's what I am. Yeah.
So well said. Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Wonderful gentleman, highly talented, great respect for what he's created in his career. And he's got so much more even beyond. So I just want to say gratitude today. Let's just take a moment to just be grateful for being in this incredible craft, to be able to touch lives and sell happiness, to be in a place where artificial intelligence cannot do this job for us, to be in a place where we can make a difference, to be in a place where if we do the consultation and we meet the client in the landscape where they live, with compassion and love, without judgment, the sky is the limit. You can push your creativity as far as you want. I've helped people win awards. I've worked with the greatest hairdressers in the world. If you want an editorial path, I have editorial courses. If you wanted to fast track your career, I do have a fast track program. We today have been speaking about mastery in hair cutting, where it's not gimmicky. I'm not selling you a widget, so therefore I'm brainwashing you into you've got to do it this way. I've been there, done it. After 40 years in the craft, I've seen a lot. So it's very down to earth and very real. So I just say thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Kevin. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you online. Take care and bye for now.